Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be talking about multitasking because as you may probably know, there have been lots of videos on YouTube, there have been lots of people talking about this concept and notion known as multitasking. I want to break down several things and several reasons for and against when it comes to multitasking, when it comes to arguing and discussing, whether it's a blessing or a curse. Guys, when it comes to discussing multitasking, I guess the most frequently asked question is whether it works or not. Because of course, people are basically separated into two groups, because some of them say that, it doesn't work, at all. Whereas some people, I would say probably 50 or 60% say that it does work, but kind of like depends on how you're going to look at this method. But of course, I'm not going to argue and maybe confront one kind of opinion or another. In this video, primarily, I want to share my experience because as you may have probably seen in one of my previous videos, I'd been working in the financial field for a long time, for almost 8 years, since 2016, 2017, something like that. And of course, I did have to multitask. It was the only way how I actually could do several things at the same time. And from my perspective, I agree actually with both sides, with people who say that doesn't work and with people who advocate for this, saying that no, it's the only possible way how you can accomplish several things at the same time. It's not as obvious or it's not as clear as it may seem to be, because in my experience, I actually was coming to that point in which I actually could do several things at the same time over some time. When I just started working in the financial field in 2016, I was just doing my job. I was working 9-to-5 job and actually I did nothing else. I just, went to my work, then I, went home, and that was it. But then, of course, gradually I started incorporating and integrating new activities and new things into my life. For example, the second one was when I started learning English in 2019, 2020, something like that. I did have to multitask, because if you don't multitask, it usually looks like you only have one activity integrated in your schedule. But, from my perspective, every single person having several things in their schedule, they automatically multitask. And I mean, I'm talking about main things, of course, like your work, maybe some side hustle or, some courses, whatever. Learning English language did require me to dedicate 2 days a week, maybe 3 days a week. I was just gradually getting used to this new, I would say, circumstances, this new schedule, of course, which I had. And then it was, creating my YouTube channel regarding teaching English. And this is actually where multitasking comes, because from my perspective, it's not about whether it works or not. It's all about how you're going to approach this. From what I've noticed, people saying and actually describing multitasking as something, as something that doesn't work or works, you start doing one activity. You're working on this, you finish this activity, and then you switch to the next one. Once again, you start working on the second activity, you finish this one, and then in the same cycle, you switch to the third one. This is the way how it works. Because, of course, that's why I've just said in the beginning of this video that I agree with both sides. Because people who say that it doesn't work because you cannot be focused, you cannot be concentrated on doing several things at the same time, of course, they're right. They're absolutely right. It doesn't work when you start doing something and then without finishing this, you immediately switch to the next activity and you try to do them simultaneously. This is when it doesn't work. It's not because, you have to learn how to do it. It's not about it's not about choosing or finding the right method. No, it's about our nature of all human beings. You are not able to focus, you are not able to commit yourself to several things at the same time. And I would say this is the main reason why people who have been discussing this issue, this fundamental issue as multitasking, they're at the same time, they're wrong and they're right. This is exactly why I say that it depends on how you're going to look at it and how you're going to approach this. Because once again, saying that it works or it doesn't work actually doesn't consider lots of other parameters, which of course should be taken into account when it comes to multitasking. The right approach, I would say the right timing, because once again, it's not something that you are going to learn to do immediately. No, it's something that has to be learned over some time. For example, like in my case, I've just described, it wasn't something that I was used to or, no, it didn't happen out of thin air. I was gradually getting used to this, integrating more and more activities into my schedule. And of course, I know there are lots of people out there who, for whom maybe it takes less time to get used to this. What I want to say also, what I want to emphasize is that I do agree that out there, there are lots of people for whom this method will not be suitable. Because in order to multitask effectively, not only do you have to stick to the right approach, for example, starting one thing, then finishing, then switching to the next one, it's also about self-organization, self-discipline, and actually being able to control yourself. Having the right routine, having the right structure, being like a boss, being like a manager for yourself. I guess following this approach that I've just described, starting one thing, finishing, then to another, switching to another, is not what is only needed. Again, you have to be a person who would be responsible for what you do, for like where you work, etc., for all your things. In my opinion, the bottom line of multitasking revolves around how you're going to approach this. It's not something that should be discussed for many hours. You may judge whether it works or not only by the result. And of course, you have to try it, by yourself. Without trying it out, it's pretty silly to make any conclusions. You have to try this. If it doesn't work, you can just quit this at any time. It's not for everyone, of course. Just self-discipline, self-organizations, and all this, being able to commit yourself to various number of activities at the same time. It's not something that is easy to be focused on and to work with. You have to try. Just try this. If it doesn't work, just leave this and stick to doing only one activity at a time. Not even at a time, but as a part of your schedule. That will do for this video. I hope that you enjoy watching this video. I hope that my experience, which I described, was useful. Maybe you got something from this experience. Maybe you have the same or a pretty similar story. Don't forget to leave me a comment below, and of course subscribe on this channel, give me a thumbs up, and see you guys in our next video. Bye.